English Leap Podcast.
From Speak English with Class.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the English Leap Podcast, your go-to podcast for learning English and improving your communication skills. I'm Evan, and as always, I'm joined by my fantastic co-host, Erin. How are you doing today, Erin?
Hey, Evan. I'm doing well, but I had one of those moments today where I really wished I could think faster.
Oh? What happened?
Well, I was having a casual conversation with a colleague, and they asked me a really simple question. One I totally knew the answer to. But for some reason, my brain just froze. I hesitated, stammered a bit, and by the time I found the right words, the moment had passed, and they had already moved on. It was so frustrating.
Oh no, I've definitely been there. That awkward moment when you know exactly what you want to say, but your mind decides to take a break at the worst possible time.
Exactly. And later, I kept thinking about all the clever responses I could have given. Why does that always happen?
It's so common, and you're not alone. In fact, studies show that a lot of people struggle with quick thinking in conversations, whether it's due to nerves, overthinking, or just not having enough practice.
That makes sense. And I think many of our listeners can relate, especially those learning English as a second language. Thinking fast in another language is a whole new challenge.
Absolutely. But the good news is, quick thinking is a skill that can be trained. And that's exactly what we're diving into today: how to think fast and talk smart in any conversation.
Yes. We're going to cover why quick thinking matters, what slows us down, and most importantly, how to train your brain to respond faster and more confidently.
And before we jump in, we have something special for you. We've created a free PDF packed with practical exercises to help you train your brain for quick thinking. It includes key takeaways from today's discussion, comprehension questions to test your understanding, and grammar exercises to build confidence in your English skills.
And that's not all. We're also introducing some intermediate-level words and phrases in today's episode.
That's right. And we'll take a closer look at them later in Charlotte's vocabulary section, where Charlotte will break down those words and phrases, explain their meaning, and show how to use them in real-life conversations.
So, stay tuned for that, and let's get started.
All right, Erin, let's start with the basics. Why is quick thinking so important in communication?
Okay, imagine you're in a job interview, and the interviewer suddenly asks, "What's one challenge you've overcome?" You have the experience, but your mind goes blank. Instead of confidently sharing your story, you stutter and say, well, let me think. That hesitation can make you seem unprepared or unsure of yourself, even when you're perfectly qualified.
That's a great example. Quick thinking doesn't just help you sound confident, it actually makes you feel more confident. Studies show that people who respond quickly in conversations are perceived as more confident and competent. Whether it's in a meeting, an interview, or a casual conversation, being able to think on your feet makes a huge difference.
That's true. In fact, research from Harvard Business Review suggests that clear and confident speakers often gain more credibility and influence in social and professional settings.
And let's clear up a big misconception. Thinking fast isn't the same as speaking fast. Some people believe that if they talk quickly, they sound smart. But in reality, clarity is more important than speed.
Exactly. Think of it like driving a car. You don't need to speed to get to your destination quickly. You just need to know the best route. Speaking clearly and concisely helps you get your point across faster than rushing through your words.
That's a perfect metaphor, and fluency isn't built overnight. Just like learning an instrument or a new sport, the more you practice, the faster and smoother you become.
Totally.
So if quick thinking is so important, what actually stops us from responding smoothly in conversations? Let's break it down.
The first challenge is overthinking. Imagine you're texting a friend and you rewrite your message 5 times before sending it. That's what happens in real-life conversations. Some people try to construct the perfect sentence in their mind before speaking, and by the time they're ready, the moment has passed.
Then there's fear of mistakes. I remember when I was learning Spanish, I hesitated so much because I was afraid of sounding silly. But the truth is, making mistakes is part of the learning process.
Right. Another challenge is mental blocks. When you're put on the spot, your brain just freezes. It's like when someone asks you, "What's your favorite movie?" And even though you've watched hundreds, you can't think of a single one.
And finally, there's the language barrier. If English isn't your first language, sometimes the words don't come as quickly as you'd like.
So true. But the good news is, there are strategies to help with all of these challenges.
All right, let's dive into the first strategy, staying calm under pressure. This one's huge because when we're nervous, our brains go into fight or flight mode, making it harder to think clearly.
So true. It's like when you're watching a quiz show and the contestant knows the answer, but because of the pressure, they just blurt out something completely random.
Exactly. I remember this happened to me in a presentation once. I was so worried about messing up that my mind went blank. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears, and all the great points I had prepared just vanished.
Oh no. So, what did you do?
I took a deep breath, seriously. Just pausing for a second and reminding myself that I wasn't in any danger helped my brain reset. And instead of panicking, I started speaking slowly and focused on my key points.
That's such a good tip. When we calm ourselves down, our brains can function normally again. A simple trick is to take a slow breath before responding. It helps break that panic cycle.
Now, on to the second strategy, anticipating responses. This one's all about being prepared.
Right. Think of it like playing chess. Good chess players don't just react to their opponent's moves, they predict them in advance.
Exactly! And we do this naturally in daily life. For example, when you walk into a coffee shop, you already know what the cashier is going to ask. What would you like to order? That's why you don't freeze when answering.
Yes. The trick is to apply this to conversations. If you're going to a job interview, think about what they might ask. If you're meeting a new person, prepare a few casual questions or answers.
And this doesn't just work for planned situations. Even in everyday conversations, you can predict the flow. If someone asks, "How was your weekend?" you already have an answer in mind.
That's such a great point. The more you anticipate, the less likely you are to get caught off guard.
But even with preparation, sometimes we just need a moment to gather our thoughts. Which brings us to the next trick, using time fillers. This is a game changer for quick thinking.
Oh, yes. You know when someone asks you a question and your brain just needs a second to catch up? Instead of standing there in silence, you can use time fillers like, "That's a great question," or "Let me think about that for a second."
Exactly. It's like giving your brain a few extra seconds to load the right answer. I actually use this all the time when I forget someone's name. Instead of panicking, I'll say, I remember you from... And while I'm saying that, I'm searching my memory for their name.
That's a smart trick. Another good one is, "Well, it really depends," or "I see what you mean." These phrases buy you time while making you sound engaged.
The key is to make it natural. If you suddenly go silent for too long, it can feel awkward. But with fillers, you keep the conversation flowing.
Now, let's talk about paraphrasing, one of my favorite tricks.
Same here. Paraphrasing is when you repeat or reword what someone just said to give yourself time to think.
Right. Let's say someone asks, "What do you think about the new project?" Instead of panicking, you can say, "Oh, the new project? Well, I think it's an interesting challenge. That gives you a moment to organize your thoughts.
Mm-hmm. It's such a simple but effective trick. I use this a lot when someone asks me for my opinion on a complicated topic. Instead of diving in unprepared, I restate their question and give myself a second to think.
It also helps in difficult conversations. If someone says something unclear, paraphrasing can help you process their words before responding.
Exactly. And it makes you sound more engaged, too. Win-win.
100%.
All right, the next strategy is a big one, thinking in simple structures.
Yes. A lot of people struggle because they try to form complex sentences in their head before speaking. But the truth is, clear and simple beats complicated and messy every time.
100%. Imagine explaining something to a 5-year-old. You wouldn't use big, confusing words. You'd keep it simple and direct. That's the mindset you need in conversations.
And the great thing is, people appreciate clarity. If you keep your sentences short and structured, like, I think this because, or my opinion is, it makes your ideas easier to follow.
And it takes the pressure off. You don't need to sound like a professor. Just focus on getting your point across.
Now, let's talk about active listening, because this is a superpower in conversations.
Yes, a lot of people think quick thinking is all about speaking faster, but actually, listening carefully makes responding easier.
Exactly. When you really listen, you pick up on keywords, tone, and context. That helps your brain process the conversation faster.
It's like watching a movie with subtitles. If you miss a line, the subtitles help you catch up. But if you're not paying attention, you're lost.
I love that comparison. Also, when you listen actively, you don't need to come up with something out of nowhere. You can just build on what the other person said.
Yes. Instead of stressing over what to say next, just respond naturally to what's already been said.
Perfect.
And finally, the ultimate skill for quick thinking, practicing improvisation.
Yes, improvisation, or improv, is all about responding in the moment without overthinking.
It's like playing a game where you can't pause to think. You just have to go with the flow.
And the best way to practice is through small exercises. One fun method is word association. If I say apple, you say,
Juice.
and if I say ocean, you say,
Waves.
see? No time to think, just respond. This helps train your brain to react faster in conversations.
Another great exercise is storytelling. Give yourself 30 seconds to tell a quick story based on a random word. The goal is to keep going without stopping.
I love that. And the best part? The more you practice, the better you get.
Exactly. Quick thinking isn't about being born with a special skill. It's about training your brain.
Wow, we covered so much today. From staying calm and using time fillers to thinking in simple structures and practicing improv, these strategies can really help anyone improve their quick thinking skills.
Absolutely. And now, we have some intermediate words and phrases coming up in Charlotte's vocabulary section.
Exactly. Take it away, Charlotte.
Thank you, Aaron and Evan. Hi, everyone. Here are 10 words and phrases from today's discussion that will help you build your vocabulary and sound more natural in English. Thinking on one's feet. Meaning, quickly responding to a situation without preparation. Example, as a lawyer, she often has to think on her feet in the courtroom. Perceive. Meaning, to notice or understand something. Example, he could perceive the excitement in her voice even though she was trying to stay calm. Spontaneous. Meaning, doing something naturally without much thought. Example, she gave a spontaneous speech at the party that impressed everyone. Buying time. Meaning, delaying your response while thinking. Example, He started adjusting his tie to buy time while thinking of an excuse. Mental block. Meaning, when your brain freezes and you can't think of what to say. Example, during the math test, I had a mental block and forgot the formula. Overthinking. Meaning, thinking too much, making it hard to decide. Example, she spent hours overthinking her reply before sending the message. Anticipate. Meaning, to expect or prepare for something before it happens. Example, she anticipated heavy traffic and left home early. Misconception. Meaning, a wrong idea or belief about something. Example, there is a misconception that drinking cold water causes a sore throat. Hesitation. Meaning, pausing before speaking due to uncertainty. Example, his hesitation before answering the question made it clear he was unsure. Improvisation. Meaning, speaking or acting without preparation. Example, the chef's improvisation with ingredients led to a delicious new recipe. Those are your vocabulary words for today. Try using them in your own sentences this week and remember to check out the PDF for more practice. Back to you, Aaron and Evan.
Thanks, Charlotte. That was super helpful.
Definitely. Learning new words and phrases like these makes such a big difference in fluency.
And remember, quick thinking isn't about being perfect. It's about being prepared and confident. So keep practicing, and before you know it, you'll be thinking faster and talking smarter in any situation.
That's right. Keep practicing, keep learning, and keep leaping forward in your English journey.
See you next time.
Your progress doesn't end here. To continue advancing your English skills, click on the next video or explore the additional videos we've thoughtfully selected for you.